So friends, in our show called Save Rishikesh Movement, so let me warmly welcome Sri Karthik Srinivasanji, who is a Hindu scholar. Let me find out what is his pulse about Rishikesh. And welcome to the show, Karthik ji. How are you today?
Really good, really good.
So, firstly, I want to ask you, our Mani TV international audience want to know, what is the purpose of your stay in the United States of America? I mean, why are you in the USA?
First of all, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be here and to put forth my views and what I am trying to promote here. So, this is actually a frequent visit. It's not my first time. But this time I'm coming here for a specific purpose to bring awareness of what we are doing in Rishikesh and to also bring in people to participate into what we are doing.
So, Karthik ji, tell us about the fundraiser. You came to the USA and how much it has been accomplished. Give us some details about the fundraiser.
Right. So, what we are trying to do is actually we are trying to work in simulation with the government school structure and the Gurukulam. There are two such sections which we've been feeling because of our presence in Uttarakhand, like Rishikesh, for the last 25 years. We've been seeing a lot of kids actually from government schools are moving into the convent fold, ending up being secular and being converted into Christianity, and that goes against the nation's values and virtues. Other section of kids actually who are actually in Gurukulam system. There also we see half the kids when they get graduated, they have no scope apart from money left over with doing pujas. There are no opportunities as such in the society. So we felt rather waiting for any aids or anything that we can expect out of the government, we said it is our responsibility also to initiate such thing which can really enable these kids to be self-sustained. So we thought we should come up with our own setup of institution, which is actually an amalgamation. We are not trying to reinvent the wheel, coming up with any new organization or an ashram. It is just a central center for education, where the kids who are actually going to government schools, after they complete their schools in the evening or weekends, they can come and be enabled with skill education, counseling, personality development, language, computer courses. So after when they are done with the 12th standard, they are much more confident in getting into what they really want to do. And that will inspire them to come to government schools fold where they've been quitting them. And that's the same thing which applies to the Gurukul kids also, who actually have no vision, I would say not the vision, but of course they are not being prepped about it, they are not being briefed about it, there's lack of confidence in terms of giving them the insight of what they can really aspire. So our institution will be a beacon in terms of giving them that kind of a support where they're lacking, and that's where we're trying to aim. And so far we have reached, our target is 1.50 crores, 1.5 crores, and 50 lakh has been committed by one person and in DC. And then we try to see if more people can contribute, we can achieve this target and put up our own center, and then that will be a center for self-sustaining kind of ecosystem for Hindus.
Great. So before I go into other questions, tell us a little bit about your Guruji, Shri Vasudev Das ji, please.
Swami Vasudev Das ji is actually the founder of this organization called SAMYA PRAS, and he actually is a scholar, and he has done his masters in Sahitya and Vedanta, which is actually a traditional way of education system that we have. And he was an inspirer in terms of why we need to come up with an organization, and we felt we should start off with something which is totally unique from the other setups. That is what this idea was, and then you see the organization is actually into place.
Wonderful. Now I want to ask you why you're so much involved in Rishikesh and Uttarakhand.
So as many are not aware, according to my own experience, that Uttarakhand is very unique as compared to other states. Uttarakhand is not only the only populated Hindu state apart from Himachal Pradesh. First comes Himachal Pradesh, which is predominantly populated Hindu oriented state. But Uttarakhand is also Hindu oriented state. And there are certain articles which only allows Hindus to celebrate or with rituals freely, with freedom, that the constitution allows, the Uttarakhand state constitution allows, but other states doesn't allow. Like in Badrinath, the Kedarnath, Hindu processions are only allowed. So that is why we come into picture. Rishikesh, of course, is because of the part of Uttarakhand.
Wonderful. I mean, now my audience will know, in detail about why you have taken up this project as well. So Karthik ji, Rishikesh is the yoga capital, and despite the fact that there are no mosques or madrasas in Rishikesh, I really want to know what you want to achieve. What is that thing which is stirring up in your heart?
In people's mindset, there could be a triggering factor, what is not left out with Hindus. There's nothing left out as people they see. But for me, living in the spiritual fold for many years, it's a motivational factor that Ma Gangaji, because we are living on the banks of Ma Gangaji, and that Bhagwan has bestowed this unique opportunity on us to render through what we could do through the organization. As you had rightly said that not many again are not aware of the fact that Rishikesh is the only city in entire Bharat where there's no mosque or a madrasa till date. Every city is occupied. That could be concerning, of course, but that is where the uniqueness comes into place, that we want to preserve it at all costs. We want Hindus, when people they come to Gangaji, take a dip in Gangaji, they come as Hindus. They are not Telugu, they are not Tamil, they are not Kannadigas, they are not Brahmins, Kshatriyas, they are Sanatanis. Hence, it is very required in order for us to come united. These are the hindrances. Come beyond nepotism, come beyond casteism, come as a Sanatani and save Rishikesh. That is the reason, and we've been gifted to be staying in Rishikesh for the last 23 years. So that itself motivates us to really put up our efforts and bring people together to save Rishikesh at all cost.
So Karthikji, so what you're actually saying, maybe that's my interpretation. What I'm interpreting is, so essentially Rishikesh is the hub for Hinduism and for knowledge and Indian heritage and the wealth of knowledge which the complete yogic cycle constitutes. So tell us a little bit about that angle also.
So Rishikesh actually is also known for Vedantic studies. As Swami Vivekananda ji also had come in his time, and so in Kailash Ashram, not many again knows about it. So because Ganga ji herself is an inspirer to many sadhus and scholars and kings of used to come and they to do sadhanas and all. So now is because this is a huge decline, or because of Macaulay system, and a lot of things have come up. But it used to be, after Kashi, Rishikesh used to be the hub for scholarly studies. So hence we feel like education is what we lost. We want to preserve it back again. And what could be a better medium to really that through us, Bhagwan, we are small instruments of it. We're trying to do whatever best we could do in preserving that knowledge in Rishikesh.
Absolutely. So Karthik ji, tell us what is SAMYA PRAS and why SAMYA PRAS is gaining momentum, and what are the different aspects of SAMYA PRAS.
SAMYA PRAS again is the name which is actually a literary meaning, and it is derived from Sanskritam. And Uttarakhand actually is known for Maharishi Vedavyasa's origination bhumi, where Maharishi Vedavyasa had his ashram in Badrinath, and his ashram name was SAMYA PRAS. And as Adi Shankaracharya says, Vyasasya Uchishtam Jagat Sarvam. Whatever that we read and see, the knowledge that exists is only because of Maharishi Vedavyasa. And SAMYA PRAS itself, the literary meaning of SAMYA PRAS means the abode of knowledge. So our whole Vedic system was knowledge based. So Swami Vasudeva ji, actually inspired us to come up with this name, SAMYA PRAS, which is registered under Sri Shardama Vidyapeeth Trust, and that became our branding, under which we are working to preserve education and working on that front, where we can enable all those Vedic values and education-based system among our fellow Hindus.
So how is it going?
It's going predominantly well, and it's in the very initial stage. We are very small, and we don't like to expose ourselves into social media. We like to work on the ground rather than making more of a noise. We want to engage. That's more required. Action-based work is more required than making noise.
So is it going to take a tidal wave of a university where you will actually connect to the globe, or you're actually what is the key roles of SAMYA PRAS basically? How do you think SAMYA PRAS can transform the world?
I think we came into existence only because we want to be unique in many ways. Of course, there are predominant organizations and ashrams exist all across Bharat and across the world, and we don't want to reinvent the wheel by coming with something new or anything. We just want to use the existing infrastructures and resources, and we want every Hindu to participate as a student, and we don't want to construct a big university or anything. We want, unless people don't participate, it doesn't become actionable, responsibility. The kind of people involvement is much more important to make anything successful.
Right. Yeah, it's making sense. So Karthik ji, a question is welling up in my heart and stirring up in my mind. There are a lot of organizations, a lot of ashrams, a lot of gurukuls across the globe in India. Why a new organization?
As you rightly had said, that there are a lot of organizations already exist in Uttarakhand, Rishikesh, of course, in the entire Bharat, and that there was no relevance as such in general, if you may ask, that why we have to start up an organization. But the necessity was so relevant that we felt that the organization has to be put in place, because there are many ashrams where who actually following some sort of sampradayas, and there are general people in majoritatively, and they are not following any sort of sampradayas, and who actually they don't have any basic knowledge on Hinduism. That's where we see those people need to be catered at most, and they don't find any vision or support from other organizations. Not to be negative about those organizations, because they are already doing a lot with their devotees and with their kind of sampradayas and the path laid out by their gurujis. But we are, as general people, more concerned about those who are deviating away because of this sheer ignorance, I would say, and where they are seeking any sort of help and they are not being catered properly by these institutions. And hence we felt as a Sanatani, where we are beyond any sampradayas, because sampradayas come under Sanatana Dharma, and Sanatana Dharma is utmost to be catered. So hence our Swamiji felt we should start up an organization which should cater people from any caste barriers, and who should be Sanatanis, that's all, the Hindu focused people, and we should cater them. That's the reason we had started off this institution.
So Karthik ji, do you think this vision is going to transform the world?
I won't say transform the world. We think very small, and we always keep ourselves focused, because the problem with the fellow Hindus is that jumping guns, they want to change the whole world. Don't take it wrong, I'm not just trying to say perspectively to you, but in general is a notion people want to transform the whole world or the whole Hindu community or the entire Bharat. We don't believe in doing anything big. We just want to keep ourselves focused, and it is almost is required. When you should start anything from your own self, and then to your family, then to your neighbors, and then to your community, then to the state, and then so on. So anything that you start off only can pay out good results if it starts from you, very self. When you start to formalize those ethos and values on yourself and start to do, and it should really showcase in terms of your life. It should really prove it to the people as an example. So hence we feel this institution may be in a very preliminary stage, as not many, they don't know about it, but we are sure it's really being a beacon in the way how it has been functioning, with a kind of utmost transparency and all those kinds that we had laid out by Swamiji, that it's really embark as a kind of an example to other institutions to cater in the future, of course.
How is the reception for SAMYA PRAS by local people in Rishikesh?
I would also say not only locally, we would say even the people who are connected with our institution abroad, they are very much happy. Initially it is kind of very skeptical for them to come up with something in terms of what we're doing, to believe whether they are genuine, what they're talking is, because everybody is talking on the same lines. It is very hard for them to really justify, because every Sanatani who we think right now who are contributing through physically, socially, mentally, financially, have a lot of foundations. They have to cater their family, and they're doing a lot. So it is actually important for any institution like us, where we call ourselves unique, to really showcase and really level up to their satisfaction in whatever way it is, whatever it takes. We have this kind of responsibility. We need to stand up to the expectations. So that takes some time, of course, and these people who we are talking about, who are aligned with this vision, it took some time for them to align. But once they aligned and they could see we actually have them to participate. Without having them to participate, taking donations is not our way of working. We want people to come united, like the other faiths we have, they participate equally, and we people give excuses, our family we have to cater, and we have jobs. Even traveling America and India, I see other faith people, they have no excuses. They are following the religious equivalently and more strongly, I would say. Our people only, I could see, they are only giving excuses. So hence we believe participation makes a huge thing. unless our people are not accountable. Not only the people who are on ground, but the people who are donating are also equally accountable, because your money can make somebody a good person or also a bad person.
True, that is right. So Karthik ji, I mean, I'm going back to basics. Tell us about primitively your love for the demographics of Rishikesh. Your heart always revolves around Rishikesh and Uttarakhand, and I mean, that's how SAMYA PRAS have come into the play as well, which is wonderful. The discussion was going beautifully. And also tell us about the migrations crisis, people migrating to other places from Rishikesh. How are you going to counteract that? Is there a solution for that?
After the inception of Uttarakhand from UP in 2000, and I only came to Uttarakhand in 2002, but I've been predominantly noticing about the kind of changes that we see in Uttarakhand, that too in the last 5 years. And there is a huge migration crisis, of course, which has to be dealt. Unfortunately, government is trying their level best to counter it, but they are not able to sufficiently do much on that front. And we could see every year thousands and thousands of people actually migrate, are forced to migrate to other states in search of jobs. And that is more concerning, even more concerning, and makes it more sensitive, is because the Muslim are always on the lookout to come into the state and find some place and opportunities, and they don't leave any such opportunities where they can utilize. And Hindus are going out of the state and Muslims are coming in. That's even more concerning for us, and we want to really work on that front. We cannot do as the government can do, but yes, again, the Rishikesh is where we want to start off, where the predominant population is 5 lakh people, and where we think it's even a big count on that front, and the population is huge to cater. But we want to start off small. We want to really identify those potential people who we can engage them with the jobs that we can give them, that makes them more sustainable, where Hindus also try to get jobs locally. And of course, I would not want to put it, Corona has brought a lot of devastation, but it also brought a lot of good things like work from home, which is a big boon for Uttarakhand people who don't want to leave their family. So this work from home concept works very well with those people in Uttarakhand. So we want to tie up with the entrepreneurs, potential entrepreneurs from America, all over the world, who can give them trainings and give them jobs at their place. Even women in North India are not IT people. They work after they get married, they are household women. So we want to engage them, find out, we will just filter those people to those entrepreneurs, and they'll give them skill training, and they will engage them with the job. And we are also working on the front and as a local tourist, because Uttarakhand also serves a lot of tourism. So when predominant population comes and they were looking for some Sanatani shopkeepers or to buy, they have no clue where to go. So we are creating a system where Hindus can identify who is selling, for example, fruits, vegetables, vendors. It will all be on the website for them to easily, it's all verified list of people from where they can buy vegetables, fruits, restaurants, grocery stores. So that way they know it is just to counter halal economy, where we are trying to bring the Hindu Sanatani system, where Hindus will be benefited from Hindu people. So our money stays with us, and it will bring more avenues for Hindus.
Great. So you're actually nailing the system.
Yes.
Well, and creating a good ecosystem rather.
Absolutely.
For a harmonious way of living. That's wonderful, and I congratulate for the brilliant ideas. So going to another question, tell us about now we are talking about Bollywood now, because about the movie. How did you, or why did you, and I'll ask the whys and hows, why did you get involved in the movie Kashmir Files? How are you going to justify that? And tell us how SAMYA PRAS have organized, the screening for Kashmir Files and bringing everybody to the theater and making everyone watch. And what is the message, and how are you going to correlate your existence and the people in Rishikesh and Uttarakhand with the movie? As we all know how anti-India Bollywood itself is, but it's really surprising to see somebody like Vivek Agnihotri ji, going through the odds and sacrifices, to come up to actually get into this courageous
act of coming up with the movie, which is not a small thing at all, which has to be welcomed. And thanks to Honorable Modi ji, who actually stood out. He hardly speaks about favoring any movie, but he felt is much more relevant. Why? Because Agnihotri ji also spoke in one of his sessions that he could not compile facts with the atrocities that happened to Hindus in the past. And it is Kashmiri Files is just a small evident example happened to one particular state. And we had seen further more atrocities from Nalanda, Takshashila, like millions of Hindus were brutally murdered. And even that partition was one other evident example where millions actually lost their lives. 50 lakh is a technical a figure which we have, but we don't know. It's definitely more. So Kashmiri Files, why? Because there was a big wave among Hindus to really stand in consolidated to support the movies. But we want to go beyond supporting movies, because definitely we are not for Bollywood, of course, because we know where the money is going to go. But Vivek Agnihotri ji is a different person, and at most the example that we want to give out of through Kashmiri Files is because Kashmiri Files gives an example where how Muslims came for shelter and for business, how they misused this avenue and used against those people, and brutally murdered, raped, assassinated many people, and which forced the Hindus to leave Kashmir, which is predominantly the only state now, which again is the opposite of Uttarakhand, which is predominantly Muslim populated. So we wanted to do something, and we could see like there was no much of kind of motivation in Uttarakhand as we see in other states. People came out on streets in favor of them. They did rallies and whatever not, and organizing shows. Of course, we didn't see that of kind of a support that should be showed to the movie. So we took this initiative, and again Swamiji inspired us to go ahead, and because generally you don't see institutions to book a hall or anything. Our donors were not into it, but they understood the concept of why it is required for us to do so. So we booked the whole hall, and you would be surprised to know even Delhi does not have an hall which is capacitated with 600 seats. Uttarakhand and even Rishikesh, this is the only theatre which has got 600 seats. So we booked the whole hall, and also we actually did a rally followed by the movie. So that is actually to give a message that what happened in Kashmir, that can never and will not be repeated, and our Hindus are very much awakened, and we are together, and we will never let anything happen, and we are in the preventive stage, and we will not even have any vigilantes or Vidharmis, as we call the Muslims or Christians, to eye upon Rishikesh. No.
So Karthik ji, good to know about your initiative to screen the movie. SAMYA PRAS being instrumental in screening the movie Kashmiri Files, and all that you have explained was brilliant again. Shows how much of a compassionate heart you have and Guruji has, and I'm actually connecting the dots about the vision of SAMYA PRAS. So I wanted to ask you, is there any correlation? First tell me what is about the rally for resurgence, and is there any correlation with the movie Kashmiri Files?
Yeah, ultimately, like we want to do something which is very unique and natural. We don't want to believe in flowing with the like the group of people who they've been doing. We want to contribute much more. Just don't want to really organize the movie, and people they just see the movie and then they show some regret and they go back home forgetting about the event. That happens. We tend to forget things very easily. We don't even. That's a very unfortunate fact. Good
Right.
things we remember, bad things we forget very easily. That I see the reason why we tend to see such incidents happening predominantly one after the other.
Right.
So hence to make it a mark, what we did is, Swamiji again inspired us to do a rally. That is why we actually that we just because we've been what we thought is because giving them free tickets to attend the movie is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
They would directly assemble the theatre, and we thought if we can put them on the rally before, that would really inspire them to really participation against what one of the ethos stands for. So we actually made it mandatory for people to attend the rally, and then only they will be able to attend the show. So that was the take there. And the reason why we did is because what people they understood later on, that when they come together on ground, it's just not walking on the streets with Jai Shri Ram and the slogans raised, and it is about showing the unity. Besides everybody has the work and all, there was no excuse for that. When watching a movie, they always find some sort of time they can take it out as fun. This is not fun. So we want to make it as a very serious, on the serious note, we want to have this rally to stay in their minds, and also a strong message to those seculars, Muslims and Christians who been taking every city after city and Hindus for granted. And we want to show this crowd in Rishikesh may be very small and a small city, of course, but this city is much more awake. This is not a sleeping crowd, and you cannot fiddle around this crowd. And hence we thought this rally will make a difference. And I thank the crowd of Rishikesh who stood out there, and they thronged in big numbers and made this rally successful.
So Karthik ji, it was really nice talking to you, knowing a lot in detail about SAMYA PRAS. Before closing, before giving your closing notes and message to our Money TV international audience, I just want to ask you, why you have initiated the Tirth Yatra, and what is the self-sustainable work module? Explain more about that, please.
As we know how halal economics is totally had affected the whole world in many fractions, as whether it is social engineering or wherever, you see halal economics has taken over, and they have reached to a level where we are not even started off, I would say. And coming back to Rishikesh is concerned, where as a common public, I would see, like tourists also, when they come, they are in a kind of fiasco where to go and what to do. And how should be very aware of that we are really staying Hindus, and this restaurant I am ending up with, whether it is run by Hindus or not. So we felt we are living in Rishikesh, and we know how the system functions and what people's expectations are. And we felt this system, no matter is very small, and it may not be predominantly enough to go anywhere near to curbing the halal economics, but it is all about mindset. Our Hindus are copycats, and they follow something very fast if it is being done. It takes time, of course, for people to really accept it. Once people start to really accept it, and it becomes such a huge movement. That's why we say, our Swamiji used to say, it's not a non-profit that we are running. Others may be running a non-profit, and that's why they are very limited into their kind of focus. Of course, it is also, I really admire that focus, but that's not enough to curb the kind of struggle that we are facing through right now. So it is a movement, and again that it requires the local support, and the people from all the factions from Hinduism, our Sanatana Dharma, have to come together. So that is where we from cobblers to Mehendiwala to any entrepreneur in Rishikesh been identified. It's a slow process, and that would in the coming years will be a predominant success. Of course, we very assured of it. The rally itself give a big message to us. The success, what could outcome of this initiative that we are doing, creating a Hindu ecosystem in Rishikesh. And we are sure, if we start off very small, this will in no matter, I'm very sure, the near cities and the districts and states and the entire Bharat and the whole world where Hindus are living, they will really replicate it very fast and make it a huge success.
Thank you. That was that was a nice answer. I think our Money TV international audience are soaking in all the good points you have given about SAMYA PRAS and Uttarakhand and the burning issues around Rishikesh, and how SAMYA PRAS is instrumental in counteracting. Even
I want to add on one thing, that we other institutions even that you see existing there, right? And that our institution, where we feel in comparison, we should not be comparing in any way that we are huge, magnanimous, fully enabled with funds, support and everywhere. We don't want to compare. We are not in the competition, unfortunately. And unfortunately, why I say is because we don't want to compare ourselves. We don't want to be a critic of any organization. They are doing their best. But ours, why I want to make a mark here is because as a Hindu, as I see, it's very important to keep everybody together, which is very, very important. Now we see, our families are getting secular, this joint family concept is gone. And when we talk about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that only Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is not to our extended family, not to the fellow neighbors who are Hindus. It really applies to, they try to apply it. This is actually, again, a hallucination,
more nuclear,
hypothetical theory which has actually evolved among the people, that has been dumped, and we are following the same thing. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam means endorsing Muslims and Christians. No, it is utterly wrong. It is never there. Even in the Shastras, when we talk about it, is the Sampradayas which take you to the ultimate goal, which is Bhagavan, not to every religion. It is very, very clearly specified. It has only been misinterpreted. So when you talk about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, it starts from you, your family, your utmost responsibility to your parents, your neighbors, your fellow Hindus. That's where it is. The people who are against the ethos of you, somebody strike your family, they become your enemy. You know, your swadharma, your karma says to stand for your family. It should be to protect your family at all costs, not to stand and doing nothing. That is where we want to inspire people to stand for themselves, not to be desiring, but to be deserving of what you get. That is very important for a long, sustainable ecosystem.
Wonderful.
That's what we come here for.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, Karthik ji, it was really nice talking to you, and thank you so much for coming to our Mana TV International studios, talk about SAMYA PRAS and your wonderful initiatives, and Guruji as well. We wish you all the best for all your future endeavors, all your visions and missions, and give our Mana TV International audience your closing thoughts and your collective message to the audience, please.
First of all, I want to thank Mana TV International for giving us an opportunity to put forth our views and to bring awareness. That was the whole idea of me visiting US under the guidance of Swami Vasudev Das ji. And thank you once again for giving me an opportunity to put forth my views. And the only message I would like to give through this huge platform which caters Hindus and Telugu community and all, that every Hindu should become responsible, should be more vigilant. That is where we are going wrong. And our commitment should be to cater our own community first. And we should at no cost should compromise on that fact. And when there's a need, start small, doing whatever that you do at your home. Don't ever, there was a small incident I would quickly want to highlight here. This Brooklyn smoke bomb incident happened when I am put up in Flushing right now. When I walk in the same attire as I do every time, whenever I'm coming to US or even in India, they were the local Hindus were saying, why you're walking with all this, tripunda you're putting, your tika you just can wipe it out and walk like this. I said, it was really a funny thing for me to really see how much deterioration we have been seeing, a decline in the values among Hindus. We have changed the country, we have changed the language, we have changed the attire, we have changed the food habits, we have imitated whatever the American constitution talks about, but still we are not American, neither Hindus, like Indians, I would generally say in that way. I say no matter you take out the tika or whatever, you're still brown, who right. They may want to attack you, they may attack you,
Correct.
So why not die as who you are? And this is what I stand for. It is not to showcase. I was walking on the street, I could see the Jews with the kids standing and the ethos, the attire showcases a lot of confidence in the child that has been nurtured by the father. Even the Sikh community, which they may be calling them a different religion altogether, but yes, they are one of the sect. And you can see the kind of, the turban and the way how they keep themselves up in America. Why Hindus actually have backed out, trying to imitate something who they are not. Of course, no company and no schools are saying you don't put a bindi. We ourselves have made a mindset that this would not be good, will not be safe. There has to be a stop to this. That is the message I would like to give in conclusion. Start following your dharma wherever you are and start from your home. Touch your parents' feet. You don't go to temples, you have no time. America expands, I understand, but at least you can touch your parents' feet if you have your parents at home. They are the temples, they are the educational based system that you already have at home. So don't take it for granted and start from your home. And that's where you gain the knowledge and that's where you gain the confidence to stand for your dharma like I am. What I stand for is because of my parents' nurturing and because of my Guruji. So again, I thank Mana TV International for giving me an opportunity, and I hope people get to get more aware of what we are trying to do and they get to participate. And thank you once again.
So thank you so much, Karthik ji. You're talking at length about SAMYA PRAS, about the movement, about the mission again, and giving a beautiful message to our Mana TV International audience. Once again, I wish all your endeavors come true, and all that you want to accomplish come to fruition. So congratulations once again for a lovely initiative. So friends, that was Karthik Srinivasan. Talking about SAMYA PRAS and his wonderful mission and his points and take on Rishikesh and Uttarakhand. I hope you'll like it, and if you have any questions, please shoot them at info@manatv.net, and a few other details are also scrolling on the screen. You can as well follow them and follow us on our YouTube and Facebook of Mana TV. Until then, have a nice day.